Hello students. In this session we are going to discuss about androgens and anti-androgens. Starting with the introduction. Testosterone is the principal secreted androgen both in men and women. Androstenedione and dihydroepiandrosterone are also secreted along with testosterone. In men, they are produced into the Leydig cells of the testis, while in female, it is secreted by the corpus luteum and adrenal cortex. The feedback mechanism exists with the testosterone also, like we have discussed with the gonadotropins, FSH, LH, estrogen, progesterone. So now you are well aware about the feedback inhibition mechanism. Inhibin is produced by the testis and has FSH-like action, and it is also having feedback inhibition. Here is the diagram of the testicular cells. You can see here that there is a lumen of the seminiferous tubule. There is varying stages of sperm development. Here you can see that Leydig cells are located here. There is a tail of spermatozoa. Spermatozoa are located here. Cytoplasm of the Sertoli cells is also seen, and spermatogonium is here. So testis is the main function to produce the sperms, and there are different phases of spermatozoa formation, and they occur into the testis. Leydig cells of the testis will secrete testosterone. This you have learnt into the lecture of steroids also. Their plasma cholesterol is converted into cellular cholesterol along with the acetate. Because of the side chain cleavage, it is converted into pregnenolone. Pregnenolone will be converted into progesterone with the help of 3-beta hydroxysteroid dehydrogenase. Pregnenolone is converted into 17-alpha hydroxypregnenolone, while progesterone is converted into 17-alpha hydroxyprogesterone. Here this 17-alpha hydroxypregnenolone will be converted into dihydroepiandrosterone DHEA, which is converted into androstenediol, which is further converted into testosterone. Some of the DHEA is converted into androstenedione, which is a cleavage product from the 17-alpha hydroxyprogesterone by the enzyme 1720 lyase, and ultimately testosterone is produced from the cholesterol. So if we see the secretion, it is secreted in utero of a male baby. In the first trimester, fetal testes begin to secrete testosterone, which is stimulated by the HCG from the placenta. Beginning of the second trimester, the value is close to that of the mid-puberty, that is about 250 nanogram per deciliter. Testosterone production then falls by the end of the second trimester, but by birth the value is again about 250 nanogram per deciliter. After birth, the testosterone value falls again in the first few days after birth, but it rises and reaches to peak again at about 250 nanogram per deciliter at 2 to 3 months after birth, and falls to less than 50 nanogram per deciliter by 6 months, and from the 6th month till puberty it remains in this range, that is less than 50 nanogram per deciliter. From about age of 12 to 17 years, the serum testosterone concentration is 500 to 700 nanogram per deciliter in men compared to 30 to 50 nanogram per deciliter into the women, which decides the puberty and related development at the time of puberty. This is the graphical presentation of the serum testosterone level, which we have discussed. During the intrauterine life, it is first rising into the first trimester, then again fall first and second trimester, then again fall and rise near the birth. During the infancy, it is higher at the time of birth, but just after that it falls down. Again peak at the 6th month, but after that it falls down to normal, and after the up to from the 6th month To the age of puberty, it remains at the lower concentration. At the time of puberty, serum testosterone levels are at very high level, and it remains so into the reproductive life of the individual, and it declines gradually as the person is progressing towards the menopause. After secretion, we understand the transport of testosterone. Sex hormone binding globulin, also called as SHBG, binds about 40% of circulating testosterone with very high affinity. Albumin binds almost 60% of circulating testosterone with low affinity. Approximately 2% form of testosterone is present as unbound or free. Now we see the metabolism of testosterone. Active metabolites are from the dihydrotestosterone, estradiol, it is converted by the enzyme aromatase into estradiol. Testosterone is converted into estradiol by the aromatase enzyme. It is converted into dihydrotestosterone by the 5-alpha reductase enzyme. These are the active metabolite and having pharmacological and physiological action inside the body. By testosterone converted into inactive metabolites, that is androsterone and ethiocholinolone, which are ultimately excreted outside the body. Now we see the mechanism of action of androgens. Testosterone can act as an androgen directly by binding to the androgen receptor. It is also acting indirectly by conversion to dihydrotestosterone, which binds to the androgen receptor even more avidly than testosterone. So metabolite of the testosterone, that is dihydrotestosterone, DHT, is more active than testosterone itself. Both act through combining with the androgen receptors. Testosterone can act as an estrogen also by conversion to estradiol, which binds to the estrogen receptor. And what is the mechanism and functions of estrogen, that we have discussed. But being a steroid, it acts through the nuclear receptor, that is the most cellular mechanism of the androgens. Now we see the effect of androgens at different stages of life. In utero, fetal testis is stimulated by HCG, begins to secrete testosterone at 8th week of gestation. It stimulates the nearby Wolffian ducts to differentiate into the male internal genitals, that is epididymis, vas deferens and seminal vesicles. Testosterone is converted into dihydrotestosterone, which causes development of the male external genital, that is penis, scrotum and prostate. At puberty, which usually begins into the man at the age of 12 years, puberty develops with testosterone level rise or increase in the testosterone level is mainly responsible for development of puberty. The increased secretion of FSH and LH stimulate the testes. That is, the first sign of puberty is an increase in the testicular size into the male children. The increase in the testosterone production by the Leydig cells plus effect of FSH on Sartori cells will stimulate the development of the seminiferous tubule, which eventually produces the mature sperm. The phallus enlarges into the length and width, the scrotum becomes rugated, and the prostate begins secreting the fluid, and it contributes to the semen. The larynx become thick, resulting into the voice change into the males, and libido or sexual desire develop at the time of puberty. Effect of androgen at different stages of life continued, that is at puberty. Skin and hair growth occurs. Hair becomes coarser and oilier due to increased sebum production, contributes to the development of acne. Sexual hair begins to grow. Initially pubic and axillary hair develop, and then hair on the lower legs, and finally Other body hair and facial hair also develops. Muscle mass and strength increases, especially at the shoulder girdle, and subcutaneous fat decreases, which gives a contour of the male body. Bones, epiphyseal bone growth accelerate, resulting in the pubertal growth spurt, but epiphyseal maturation eventually leads to a slowing and then cessation of a growth, which will ultimately stop the increase into the height. If we see the action on the blood, erythropoiesis increases, resulting into the higher hematocrit and hemoglobin concentration into the men than boys or women. So these are the actions seen at the puberty. Now what happens into the adulthood? The serum testosterone concentration and characteristic of the adult male are largely maintained during early adulthood and midlife. Gradual development of the male pattern baldness, beginning with recession of the hair at the temple and vertex, is seen into the adulthood. Gradual development of the benign prostatic hyperplasia with the age, that is mediated by conversion of testosterone to dihydrotestosterone by 5 alpha reductase 2 enzyme, which is located within the prostatic cell. It leads to growth of the prostate gland. Sometimes it may lead to development of cancer, which is a rare occasion. This dependency is the basis for treating metastatic prostate cancer by lowering the serum testosterone concentration or by blocking its action. So if we see, the testosterone is converted into two derivative. One is conversion into estradiol, that is by aromatase enzyme. Estradiol act through estrogen receptor, and actions of estrogen you are well aware of, but into the male actions is mainly onto the bone. It causes epiphyseal closure and increased density, and estrogen has some role into the development of libido, which is unclear. Another important is testosterone is converted into dihydrotestosterone, and it acts through the androgen receptor. Testosterone itself will act on the androgen receptor. Testosterone acting on androgen receptor would lead to development of internal genitals, that is Wolffian duct development during gestation. Skeletal muscle increase mass and strength during puberty, increases into the erythropoiesis, and effect on the bone is not very much clear. Dihydrotestosterone is responsible for external genital development, that is differentiation during gestation, maturation during puberty, adulthood prostatic diseases, and hair follicle, that is increased hair growth during puberty, are under the control of dihydrotestosterone. So these are the main actions of testosterone inside the male body. Now we see the androgen preparations. One is natural and other is synthetic. Natural preparations include testosterone, dihydrotestosterone, dihydroepiandrosterone, androstenedione, and androsterone. Synthetic preparations are methyl testosterone, fluoxymethyltestosterone, testosterone undeconate, and mestrolone. Therapeutic uses of testosterone are important to understand. Testosterone can be used as replacement therapy and as a pharmacological therapy. It is used as replacement therapy into the cases of testicular failure and delayed puberty and secondary failure, where decreased libido and impotency are because of the decreased testosterone concentration inside the blood, where you can use testosterone as replacement therapy. Other use is hypogonadism and male climacteric, where testosterone can be used as replacement therapy. And as pharmacological therapy, it is used for the treatment of female hypogonadism, for the treatment of erectile dysfunction. It can be useful for the enhancement of athletic performance. Tetrahydrogesterone, a potent androgen, is designed and synthesized in order to avoid detection by anti-doping laboratories on the basis of its novel structure and rapid metabolism. Testosterone are one of the misused substance into the sports, especially into the athletes, That is why they are one of the drugs which regulatory authorities check before this any sport start. It is a part of a doping test. But a newer androgen has been developed which can be avoided from detection from the doping test. It can also be used for the AIDS related wasting because they can enhance the muscle mass and strength. Adverse drug reactions of testosterone. All androgens suppresses gonadotropin secretion when taken in high doses and thereby suppress endogenous testicular function. So ultimately long-term use would lead to decreased sperm production and fertility is decreased. High doses of androgen that can be converted to estrogen and produce gynecomastia as a side effect. The 17 alpha alkylated androgens are the only androgens that causes hepatotoxicity, specifically to decrease high density lipoprotein cholesterol and increase low density lipoprotein cholesterol. It can cause virilization, including facial and body hirsutism. Temporal hair recession into the male pattern baldness is also seen. They produces acne as a side effect. Body experiences phallic enlargement and woman experiences clitoral enlargement under influence of testosterone. Boys and girls whose epiphyses have not yet closed experience premature closure and stunting of linear growth has been observed with doses of testosterone. It can be used as male contraception and produces infertility and contraception. Priapism, precocious puberty, edema, cholestatic jaundice, hepatitis, and hepatic carcinoma are rare but serious side effects of testosterone. In females, it leads to virilization, voice change, and menstrual irregularities. It can lead to blood dyscrasia also. Absolute contraindication for testosterone are prostate cancer, pregnancy, and hepatic and renal diseases. And it should be used cautiously into patients of congestive heart failure and epilepsy. So, after understanding the testosterone, one important aspect is anabolic steroids. Nandrolone and oxymethylone are anabolic steroids. Others are stenozolol, methadone. Their therapeutic uses are they are designed for treatment of male osteoporosis, into the catabolic state for the short term use, into the patients of renal failure, and they are most frequently abused drug into athletes. Why they are abused by athlete? Because of their anabolic action. They have actions of increased muscle mass and strength. This drug are having predominant anabolic action and very less androgenic action. That is why they are banned into the sports and they are important component of the doping test. Now come to the next category, that is anti-androgen, that is danazol. Actions are mild androgenic, progesterogenic and anabolic. It suppresses gonadotropin secretion, inhibits testicular and ovarian function and produces endometrial atrophy. Adverse drug reactions are amenorrhea, spotting, acne, hirsutism, deepening of voice, hot flushes, night sweating, muscle cramps, loss of libido in males and GI upset. Use of danazol is for the treatment of endometriosis where it is most effective, given for 6 months as alternative to progestins. It can be used for treatment of menorrhagia. It decreases the bleeding in the dose of 200 mg per day for 3 months. It can be useful for treatment of fibrocystic disease of breast where it is prescribed for 3 to 6 months. Can be useful for treatment of gynecomastia, for infertility treatment and for precocious puberty in males. But use is better to be done by the experts. Other anti-androgen is flutamide. It is a non-steroidal selective anti-androgen drug. It increases the LH blocking feedback. It is used as palliative in advanced prostate cancer, and the use is always along with the GnRH agonist. In female hirsutism, it is used along with the OC pills. Adverse drug reactions are gynecomastia and tenderness into the breast, liver damage, which restricts its use. Another anti-androgen is finasteride. It is a 5-alpha reductase inhibitor. 5-alpha reductase is the enzyme which converts testosterone into dihydrotestosterone. Relatively selective for 5-alpha reductase 2, which is present into male urogenital tract. Decreased dihydrotestosterone level into the urogenital tract, but does not have any effect on the testis or does not have any effect on the LH hormone. Decreased prostate size and increased urinary flow is seen with the finasteride. That is why it is used into the treatment of benign prostatic hyperplasia. But effect is slow, with the peak seen at the 6 month into the treatment of BPH. So in benign prostatic hyperplasia, we use two drugs, alpha blockers, that is prazosin, terazosin, etc., along with 5-alpha reductase inhibitor, that is finasteride. Finasteride will act on the prostate and decrease the prostate size, while alpha blocker drugs will help in improvement of the urinary symptoms. It reduces the static component of the BPH. Concurrent use with alpha 1 blocker increases the effect. It can also be used for the treatment of male pattern baldness. Adverse effects are decreased libido, impotence, skin rashes, etc. Dose is 5 mg per day into BPH and 1 mg per day into treatment of baldness. So this finishes our discussion on androgens, anti-androgens and anabolic steroids. I have described them into brief here, and if you have any questions you can ask into the comment box. Thank you.